Hi and welcome everyone. Lisa here. Thanks for taking the time to join me. So today I'm sharing a quick and simple watercolored Valentine card that's perfect for guys. And this is the first time I'm using this Mission Gold palette. I've never used a palette like this before. I do have Zig pens and Arteza pens, but as far as having a real watercolor palette, this is it for me. I'm fairly new to this, so let's just go ahead and see what happens. Now, my initial plan was to trace a heart onto my watercolor paper and let that guide me in the shape of my watercoloring. And then I would use the whole panel. Once that dried, I would erase the heart and then just use the whole panel on my card. In the end, I ended up not liking the whole panel, so I ended up die cutting the watercolor heart out. Now, if you want to die cut your heart out, you could completely skip tracing it onto the paper and just watercolor planks and then die cut those out. So I started by laying down clean water at the top and bottom of this heart with a number 10 round watercolor brush. And I left all the space in between dry. I need to leave some white space between each plank just so you can tell that they're individual planks. And so I'm coming in with some browns. Well, right now I'm just coming in with one brown because I just wanted to get the initial color laid down. And then I thought I will come back in and add details to this once I have the initial planks laid down and let those dry a little bit. So I have all the planks laid out here and I'm happy with the way it's looking so far. So I'm coming in with a number 2 round brush and I'm just going to start adding some darker shades of brown to this. I'm even going to bring in a little bit of black, also a burnt umber color, just layering some different browns on top of each other just to add some details to this and make it look like it's really wood. So I also grab a paper towel and I'll remove any excess, like some areas I was like, oh, that might be a little bit too much red. Let's pull some of that burnt umber off of there. So I just used a paper towel to pick some of that up. And I used a clean paper towel each time I did that so I wouldn't mess up my pan. At this point, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going to take my palette knife and I'm going to drag it across those wood planks. And it makes real fine lines in the watercolor. It's so neat how it does this and it gives it a realistic look. So I'm just dragging the tip of the palette knife right across the watercolored areas and I'm going to show you up close the effect that that gives. Now you could use a pocket knife, any kind of little metal object that you might have that has a really thin blade on it, you could use to create those fine lines. You can also scrape it really hard and it'll pull some of it off to give you some white areas if that might be something that you want to do. So here I'm just coming in, picking up any excess that's not dried out yet with a clean paper towel. And then I'm going to come in and add some white in some areas just to dull it out a little bit. And also come in with some black because I feel like there were some areas that were just needed to be darkened up a little bit. And I just played around with the planks until I had them the way I wanted them and I was happy with them. Here's the finished heart. And next I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. So once I let the heart dry, I went ahead and ran it through the die cut machine with the heart-shaped die that I used to trace it out. I'm going to use my T-ruler just to make sure I have this centered up on an A2 card base. I did put mounting foam behind it just to give a little bit of dimension to the card. I also used the Concord and 9th Love You to Pieces stamp and die set. Here I went ahead and die cut 3 of the banners from that set along with a few of the little heart. And I'm going to stamp the Love You to Pieces sentiment onto the banners. Now I stamped it on all 3 banners just to see which one would give me the best stamped impression, and that's the one I'll use on the top. So I used glue to stack those banners together and then I'm using mounting foam on the back of them. And I'll go ahead and place that on the lower third of the card. For the tiny little hearts that I run up the side of the wood plank heart, I just add a little bit of mounting foam to the back of each one of those and place those along the side. And that's all I'm going to do to it. Now, if you wanted to, you could take and add more details to this. You could change the colors, add red hearts maybe. It's completely up to you, but I wanted this to be very clean and simple, and I wanted it to have a very masculine feel to it for Valentine's Day. So I didn't want to add a bunch of pinks and reds and stuff like that to it. You could do some greens on it if you wanted to. That would be pretty as well. So I really do appreciate you guys taking the time to join me. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. And until next time, take care.